Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I note that this bill is amended, Mr. Speaker, but as the issue, I had an issue with in the original bill, Mr. Speaker, after there was much public comment, which started in this Honorable House at 2 o'clock in the morning. It was withdrawn and the amendments are forthcoming. Mr. Speaker, I just have one issue that I want to raise with you, Mr. Speaker, and that is section 27B and 27E, Mr. Speaker. 27B reads, a person may make an application for registration to the authority to be a registered tourism accommodation service provider. An application for registration under subsection 1 must be A, in the prescribed form, B, supported by proof of registration as a taxable person, if applicable. In the case of a company, a certificate of incorporation. In the case of business, a certificate of registration, or other information the authority requires. Mr. Speaker, this is my point of departure. I think that is too much of a wide definition, Mr. Speaker. I don't know if I'm wondering whether that's going to be in the regulations. Mr. Speaker, it gives, I mean, when that is a wide landscape, any other information, Mr. Speaker, how you define other information? I mean, they should have some criteria. Mr. Speaker, I know that the Bureau of Standards, when they register in hotels, and I have no issues with registering hotels in the proper way, and I have no issues with that. But the Bureau of Standards should have certain criteria. So you want to register a guest house, they say to you what you need. You need X amount of thing in a room, you need a certain size room, you need something. If you want to register a 3-star hotel, you need some things. Right? So you have a criteria and you tick it off. So when the inspection comes, the person goes and says, listen to me, that you want to register your hotel, here is the criteria to register your hotel, and it's ticked off. And you say you register. So there is a basis, Mr. Speaker. But when you have other information as the authority requires, Mr. Speaker, again, that is a leap of faith. I mean, we hear what's being said, we know what's happening in the real St. Lucia. That is too much of a wide authority, Mr. Speaker. Too much of a wide power in the hands of authority, of an authority that is picked by the government. I have a problem with that, Mr. Speaker, and I would hope that the government looks into it, at least put a criteria. What would make a hotel be liable or be able to be registered? If it's a 3-star, if it's a guest house, if it's a Airbnb, if it's a 5-star hotel, what are the requirements? This is my only contention. Because, Mr. Speaker, you know, these days you can have leaps of faith. You understand? And the second thing, Mr. Speaker, is under 27E, the denial of an application, and it says the authority may deny application for registration if satisfied that a person does not meet the application requirements under 27B, which is basically doesn't meet the other information the authority requires. I think, Mr. Speaker, we should really look into that clause, because it's too much authority. And you see, these things can benefit us at some point in time, but you do not want to have so much power in the hands of men or women. You have to, especially when it comes to people's living. I think that it should be set out so you know definitely what you need to register your hotel. And once you meet that criteria, your hotel is registered, or your guest house is registered, or your Airbnb is where I said, Mr. Speaker. That is my point of departure as far as this bill is concerned, because I really think it gives too much power to a certain group of people. In that case, the minister, who is the one who sets up the board. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.